When you have a daughter, braiding hair isn't just braiding hair. It's a process. Wash. Keep her thoughts clean to help bring up the danger for the world. Condition. To recondition her roots so she realizes she's not a black, broken, brittle piece of herself. Blow dry, medium to low heat, protect the history of her roots, seal in your lessons. You see, this is a process because these lion relaxers will rip her from her culture like native tongues are ripped from her mouth. You see, when men have daughters, we hear, you're gonna reap what you sow. I mean, what goes around comes around. So I part their hair straight to continue the path of angels sleeping in their nappy-headed roots because equality can't be boxed in a box braid. So I grease up with black gospel versus putting the Holy Ghost in my combs because ethnic roots are blessed with trials and tribulations, like when white counselors told my daughter she can only choose in community colleges, but universities show her the money with full-fledged educational scholarships. Braiding hair isn't just braiding hair. Style it with a spiritual connection, a beautiful three-strand trinity, father, daughter, holy bond. Blessed be the shotgun for the prom date. This ain't just braiding hair, so I braid underhanded to hide my fears of black girl magic, cause black girls are vanishing just like black boys. They go missing like barrettes. When a Tamir Rice gets shot, everyone forgets about Rakia Boyd, Ayanna Jones, Sandra Bland. These women have fathers like me that will go into Walmart to grab period pillows, rags, sanitary napkins, tampons, and dare somebody to say something. They can catch these shea butter anointed hands. See, this is more than just braids and ponytails. These are open conversations like, Daddy, why can't I date him? Didn't you sell drugs? Like, Daddy, I think she wants to take me to the dance. This is more than just braiding hair. This is therapy. This is baby. I put the drugs away a long time ago because you're the only potent substance I wanted to handle. It's baby. You can choose whoever you want. Just remember that Daddy loves you. Because, baby girl, your path won't be easy. You can't be tender-headed. You got to be able to handle any style. Because this world will twist, lock you up, ban you into knots because they dread your existence. This is not about braiding your hair. It's about quality time, ending daddy issues, being your shoulder, but you not needing it, unapologetically independent. It's showing unconditional love when this world gives you conditions. So even when my hands cramp, I will wash, dry, part, grease, twist, and braid my life around yours, because it's always been about loving you and never been about braiding your hair.
All right, welcome back to Speak Your Mind. Woo! I know at home you're all doing that. Again, woo! Tell it like it is. I just gotta take a moment. I love that one. Awesome. We have Charmant Influence Little, Poet Laureate of New Haven, and many other things. The host of Poets Realm out in Bridgeport. And a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about in a minute. But I just, again, can we do another woo? That speaks to my heart. My inner little child who used to have like the burns up on her head from the relaxer, like the scabs, which I loved actually like picking at the scabs, but like, ooh, my goodness. And my mom used to do it herself, my white mama. So like pulling at it. So it's, so for all the little black girls out there who've gone through the relaxer period and the braids, 10 hours in braids, they felt that poem, I'm sure. But like I said, we'll get to that in a little bit, because right now it's about the audience, you folks at home, because this is the part of our show where we do a writing challenge. I really want to inspire you at home, whether you've never written at all or you're an experienced writer, to take this time out of your day to write something. So we do a prompt, and our prompt is mentorship today. So you're going to write a 5 to 10 line poem on mentorship, but we need to warm you up first. We need to prime that pump. So I invite you to grab your pen and your journal, take out a blank page, and you can join in on the brainstorm if you want. Cool. You don't have to, you can rest. You just worked hard, you rest. For our brainstorm, what you're just gonna do is you're gonna write mentorship at the top of your paper in your journal. And for about a minute, you're gonna write as many words, impressions, emotions, themes, titles, anything that comes up about mentorship. And this is going to be your toolbox that you use when you go ahead and write your piece. But even if you don't use anything from this brainstorm, it's just relaxing the linear mind, the left brain, and going into the creative mind, the right brain. And so we have some music, some concentration music. So if Mike can go ahead and play that. And you go ahead at home, start writing. I'm going to talk you through it a little bit. Just so that you feel, for those who've never done it before, can feel a little bit relaxed. And so I just write really anything that comes to my mind. It could be a memory. It can be a non sequitur. It doesn't even have to make sense. It is just about getting the pen to paper. Sometimes I like to doodle. What I tell people is just don't let the pen leave the paper. So even if you're doodling or you're writing, I don't know what to say, or you have some very strong emotions coming up, or if you go ahead and write the poem in your brainstorm, that is fine. The most important thing is that you're connecting that writing energy, that pen energy to the mind. You can even take a nice deep breath. This is a meditative moment. Another thing sometimes I like to do in my brainstorm, if I'm having any worries, because sometimes our worries can block us from writing. So if something happened during the day that is bothering you, you can write that in your brainstorm just to move it off the table, get it out of the way, so that when you do sit down to write your piece, you're not being plagued by whatever happened 10 minutes ago, yesterday, 5 minutes ago, last year. It's not therapy, but it's therapeutic. All right, go ahead and put your pen down. Mike can turn off the music. And the next thing you're gonna do, and you can pause the video and come back to it if you want, or while we're sharing, you can write your piece. I like to number my lines. So if you do 1 to 10, it makes it a little bit easier. As I shared with you throughout our series, that the hardest thing sometimes is getting started. So by numbering the lines, you're literally just focusing on one line at a time or one word at a time. Don't think about the narrative, about how it flows, because at the end of it, you'll always be surprised by how it works. It always works.
Thanks.
Yeah. So mentorship. So you're going to write a 5 to 10 line poem on mentorship. And we already wrote ours, so we're going to share. And I'm going to share first because his is probably really brilliant, although I'm not going to put myself down. Mine is brilliant, but his is brilliant +1. So I'm going to go first and save the best for last.
Putting pressure on me.
Yep. All right. So here's mine. Finding power from seeds not watered. I stretched to find the wisdom in me I craved in development. Sorting through lessons that made sense, if not sprinkled in disgust for not already being. A do-over for my inner sister, reaching to form brothers and band comrades to march to a higher purpose.
Wow. See? Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, man, okay. Men have always been accused of touring the community, troubling the waters, then jumping ship. They never asked what ship sailed into their lives and tore up their emotions, leaving them to be broken versions of men. So I spend my time helping them mend their sails, hunkering down because we have more storms to survive. Oh, and you will survive. We will reinforce your planks and navigate this world together. Mentorship.
Nice. Good. I knew I gave you the right prompt. And you know what I did forget to do? I asked every guest this contemplative question about what inspires you the most in your work.
Just what the prompt was, a number of things. My family inspires me. The community inspires me. Social issues and conflict inspire me. Just being a human and breathing every day. It's just, sometimes it's a good breath and sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Nice. So I want to share with you why, because there was just so many. Really, my mind was just going crazy with what prompt to give you, because I feel like you wear so many different hats. You do so much for so many communities that I could have picked anything. But I really zeroed in on this mentorship stuff because, one, I think it's super important. And especially now that you're the Poet Laureate of New Haven, you get to be that kind of pillar of hope for a lot of kids coming up, and especially like, Black and brown kids, which is close to my heart. So I wanted to do mentorship. But I also, so last week we had Brian Embers, who runs open mic surgery there in your town in New Haven, and I gave him vulnerability. So it was a toss-up. I wanted to do vulnerability for you as well. So hopefully maybe you can touch on both of it, on the mentorship that you're doing, and let the folks at home know all the mentorship you're doing, not only with the Verbal Slam, but some of the other projects you're doing. Mostly so I can get a handle on what you're doing, because every time I see you, you're doing something different. And I'm like, all right, I kind of want to just ask him, like, what are all of the pots that you're stirring? And then the other thing, I do want to delve into this vulnerability thing, because I saw a piece that you shared, and it's going to make me want to cry. And I can't remember the name of it, of course, right now. I'm just going to call it Brother Telling It Like It Is. Do you remember what piece you're talking about?
Probably More Broken Than Black.
Oh, my goodness. And to me, it was so powerful, because I kind of like, what I talk about with a lot of people is it's easy for us to kind of go out on the stage as spoken word artists and, show our sort of strong suit, and the might and the lights and the action. And it's a lot of fun. And I hide behind that a lot. I admit it. But when I see someone, especially like you, who is so prominent in the community, who has every reason to kind of keep up the bold face, talking about those really, really hard things, in life, I'm like, yes. And so I do feel like the vulnerability goes hand in hand with the mentorship, because I think you can't be a good mentor without the vulnerability, which sort of reflected in my poem was like I had the pseudo mentorship where it's like you do this, but not the vulnerability. And to me, that's not true mentorship. So can you share both a little bit about, the mentorship prompt and the mentorship you do, and a little bit what gave you the bravery to share that poem and talk about some of those deep issues that you talked about?
The mentorship prompt, I'm glad you gave me that one. That was one of the easier, now that you mentioned vulnerability, of the two, because that's what I do every day. That's what I've been doing over 20 years, from mentoring young brothers in the street to mentoring people in poetry, still doing it. Taking and recreating the Verbal Slam team and teaching younger poets how to write and how to write spoken word and how to actually get the imagery and everything, and mentoring them through the steps of how to be a professional poet. And to doing the same thing with youth with the Word and the Brave New Voices Slam team, and just trying to keep the art going. And for the ones who need help, that it's not about art, it's just about life. Using what I've learned as a man to help these young brothers and sisters just get through life. As far as vulnerability is concerned, young people can see through a facade, right? So if you walk around all the time being tough and this, that, and the third, they have to be that all day already. They need a break from being that. So how can I mentor them if I'm not showing them there's another side to what you see on stage? There's a side of me that's more broken than black sometimes.
Yeah.
There's a side of me that hurts. There's a side of me that cries. There's a side of me that's scared, that's worried. All these things encompass into being a whole person. So if you can't connect with your vulnerability, it's going to be hard to navigate things. You're going to be always full. You're going to be always full. You're never going to empty things out for you just to get through. And so that's what vulnerability is about.
And I think what impresses me the most is that you're doing it as a black man, and I come from a line of black men who are hard, really hard. They have the soft smile, in the spotlight, but hard, and it's kind of old school in a lot of ways. My dad grew up in a very abusive home, and he kind of had to have that attitude, and he also, I feel like he still carries the what was that movie with Oprah, The Butler, the ancestry of our slavery, and it's like, no, as a black man, you gotta be like polished at all times. You always have to be like, looking for who is going to make you seem less than, and so the concept of a black man being vulnerable, but being vulnerable in the specific way that you're doing it, talking about that brokenness, I really think is revolutionary, and you can share with me if you find, because I do not find a lot of role models, black men, who are speaking as deeply as you are. Do you find that, other than at Poets Realm, but you create that?
Right. So all this has been a year and a half to 2 years coming, because at one point I didn't believe in therapy, even though I am a psych nurse. My early years was as a psych nurse. I didn't too much believe in therapy, but I'm involved with a play that's called Death by 1,000 Cuts, and a requiem for black and brown men. And this play talks about everything from black men from being young and dealing with colorism in our communities and ranking and being picked on, to being part of the LGBTQ community and not being able to bring that out inside our neighborhoods because that's something that they didn't grab a hold to mistreating our women, to mistreating our children, and so forth and so on. All of the shuns and all of the strikes and the cuts that black men take through our lives. That started my healing process with this play, because we have the director and 4 other young men all sitting together, and every single time this poem is these prose, this play is breaking us down, and we're having these deep, heartfelt conversations, and we're crying together, and we're healing together, and then we're performing this play, and on stage we're actually crying because it's just incredible. So that started my vulnerability, because for a long time I was that hard man. I wouldn't talk about my feelings. I wouldn't do those things at all. So I credit my good friend Steve Driffin, and also my man Chief, Michael Chief Peterson, because he started the More Broken Than Black. There's a track on his album Keep Going, and it's like 10 of us, all prominent spoken word artists from all over the country, and we're talking about being more broken than black.
Wow. Have you heard of the Witness Stone Project?
No.
So Antoinette Brimbrell, who's our wonderful Connecticut State Poet Laureate, and so she was part of a group called the Witness Stone Project. So it's this. So you'll have to look it up because I don't have time to go into it.
Right.
But I just have a vision of what you guys are doing as men and what they're doing to bring in the ancestry of the slaves, the forgotten voices. I don't know. I'm just feeling something. I don't know what, but
That'd
just
be
put it
dope.
on the radar.
Yes.
So I want you to let the audience at home know all the stuff you're doing, especially that play. Is it still going on? Can we come see it?
The next time the play is going on is in Clinton, Connecticut on April 13th. You can go on the Clinton, Connecticut city website, and you can find the tickets are free. They've already paid for them and everything, so it's being shown in Clinton. Amongst that, I started a new open mic in New Haven during my inauguration called Elm City Flow, and the next one is going to be the second Friday in May, and it's going to be every other month for this year, trying to get it every month for next year.
And what time does that start?
That starts at 6 o'clock, and we go to about 8:30.
Okay, great. And how can they find you? How can everyone find you?
I am on Instagram at Influence a Life, and you'll see a picture of me or Shema Influence Little on Facebook, or influencealife.com.
Oh, beautiful, wonderful. So last question, I can talk to you for hours and hours and hours, but I'll just have to have you back. So the last question is, so for the folks at home who are maybe a little bit shy about writing, or again, people who are writing, what tips or advice can you give to both those genres of people?
The first thing is be true to yourself and write honestly. Don't try to be like me. Don't try to be like anybody else you've seen on YouTube. Write from your soul, because most people happen to like my poems, but the fact is these poems are for me.
Yeah.
So write for yourself. Write with the door open. Just write. Don't stop or whatever. So that's what I teach a lot of people, to be honest with yourself and write with the door open.
I love that advice, because that's the one I think that I've embraced the most. I think early on I sort of gave that advice to myself, but I always have to reinforce it, because when I started writing, I came out of the slam poets. I was doing open mic and everyone was slam, and I really was hard on myself because I thought I had to fit that slam, but it's just not my voice. Not that, and I've shared with you, I want to have one in my repertoire, and eventually I will, because I like to stretch.
Right.
But in general, I just had to admit, no, that's not me. But but now it allows me to get more inspiration when I see the slam poets, because I'm not trying to be like them. I'm not trying to be different than what I am. So I can go back and use that as fuel to do what I do. So that is great, 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 great advice. Write that down, people at home. If you wrote your poem and you want to share it with me, you can send it to speakyourmind@myyahoo.com. Also, check us out on Facebook. I have a Facebook group called Speak Your Mind. Ask to join the group, and you can share your poem or a video of yourself, or just say hello to the community. We are a community, first and foremost, and we do this for you, so I want to hear from you. And you're going to do another poem for us, is that correct?
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for coming to our show. Charmant, influenced little, New Haven's newest poet laureate, and I'm going to go out on a true limb, the best poet laureate of New Haven. I'm sure that is going to be true, and so thank you for serving our community.
Not a problem.
All right, so stay tuned. Don't go anywhere for more from Charmant, influenced little.
I had a conversation with a black boy the other day, gunshot victim. He asked, "What makes a black man be a nurse?" I told him the last line of the nursing pledge reads, "I dedicate myself to the devoted services of human welfare." Well, I guess you black boys are the only humans because your welfare seems to be the only ones at risk. As a nurse, I've seen more black boys die in hospital beds than I care to count. Have heard more mothers scream, "God help me," with the white voice in the room saying, "I did all I could." Do you know what a street beef smells like? It smells like the hot slugs cooking in a black boy's chest. Because I'm from a city that knocks down projects because the rubble makes better battlegrounds. Turning black boys into green berets, playing in concrete jungles, moving like renegade soldiers fighting for their big piece of poverty. Call it black on black civil war. Call it ethnic suicide. But black boy, you ain't no soldier. I've seen how you die. Tears running, fists clenched in fear, body quivering like mama's little baby. I've seen bullets pulled from your ribs the way food is pulled from your teeth. Black boy, how can you digest death but you can't chew life? There's no honor in how you die. Body broken like bread, hands baptized in your blood. I've seen your purple heart on chill like the devil's coming for dinner. Black boy, don't you know what your blood looks like on white sheets? It looks like emasculation, mental conditioning. It looks like extermination. It looks like your blood knows how to die. Like mama stretched across caskets like American flags, folding herself into fetal triangles, delivering her tears to pillows, realizing she won't hang any more spangled banners for her stars. It's like my nursing degree has become a one-way ticket to watch you die, choking on bloody bullets over and over and over again. It has to be a sin. Black boy, it has to be a sin that you learn how to pull 9mm before you can even pull a 900 on your SATs. That I learned how to pull bullet fragments before I learned how to pull splinters. Black boy, we don't need no more GI bills. Aren't you tired of depositing bullets into your GI? Gastrointestinal tract, taking gut shots. Don't you know the devil's a glutton for a black boy's flesh? Cause your flesh be beautiful, your flesh be sacred, melanated Morse code, your flesh be forget failure. Black boy, you ask what makes a black man be a nurse? I say when the overflow of self-hatred and blood tsunamis the emergency room, when hospital beds, gauze, and sutures no longer keep the damned from leaking. I say you, black boy, I became a nurse hoping these hands will be your Teflon second chance, because the only shots I ever want you to take are the ones at greatness.